So here we are on the Tuesday drop discussing platforms surrounding the crypto space like Ethereum, Polkadot, Cardano, Solana. In today's video specifically though, we will be discussing the Ethereum Merge that could be taking place this summer. When deployment, right? Now, also, if you understand our perspective here at Macro Crypto, it's that Ethereum has already joined Bitcoin in the winner's circle. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it in my opinion, but obviously that's just my perspective. It doesn't matter in the long run, but who can join that winner circle in the future? Your guess is as good as mine. In my opinion, currently it's just trying to find a niche within the space, and we'll be discussing what that looks like for the Solana protocol here later in this video. Cardano, on the other hand, cannot seem to find their footing. They're hurting bad within the crypto space, down from a previous all-time high back in 2017 by 50%. We're not even talking about the all-time high from this cycle. And also whales within Cardano or just selling ADA left and right. Then we're going to wrap this video up with the depegging of UST on the Terra Luna protocol. Sad news within the space, a lot of bleeding happening and a lot of portfolios across the space. That's also going to potentially carry into USDT, which is Tether, another stable coin within the space. A potential audit that could really capitulate the markets, and how that's going to look for in the future for the crypto space in general. We're going to be discussing that at the end of the video. If you do enjoy the content, give us a like, subscribe, head over to that Twitter page at Macro Crypto Club. Like always, link will be down in the description. Let's go ahead, jump in our content, a little foreshadowing on what you can expect in a video down the line or a specific content regarding Ethereum and how it can be compared to a casino and why that's important for your portfolio to have Ethereum and how it can work for you in the future. It's just something that we're having a little bit of an outlook on. Now, you can kind of decide if that's right for you down the line, but remember, we're just trying to give you a perspective at the end of the day. Let's go ahead, dive into some news, quickly touching base about Coinbase. It backtracks on the hiring plan, citing crypto market turmoil. Now, did they overallocate positions within the crypto departments? Obviously, Coinbase is fully all crypto in the first place, but if they are just backtracking on the hiring process, they're just probably doing their due diligence. And are we going to see a little bit of a downturn? Obviously, we're seeing that right now, but for how long does it last? When these companies start to hire up again, it might give you a little bit of reassurance that the cryptocurrency market is actually turning around. So just want to touch base about that. Another large company, Robinhood, plans Ethereum wallet with DeFi, NFT trading, and no user gas fees, eating those up themselves. So they're going to be joining the ranks of MetaMask and Coinbase by launching a user-controlled crypto wallet that it plans to roll out by the end of the year. If you don't know, Robinhood, if you purchased Doge, Bitcoin, Ethereum on there before, it was you didn't own it. You just were kind of purchasing a stake in it, and then you could sell out of that position, but you could not basically move your Ether, Bitcoin, or any of those off of Robinhood. It looks like they are anticipating changing that maybe later this year. And then a little bit of a update on the merge itself for Ethereum. Eventually, the current Ethereum mainnet will merge with the Beacon Chain proof of stake system and go fully proof of stake away from proof of work, which it currently is. And this will mark the end of proof of work for Ethereum and full transition to proof of stake, like I just said. This planned to precede the rollout of shard chains. Sharding will happen later, which should speed up the transactions and number of transactions that the Ethereum network can process per second. And then we firmly refer to this as docking. Now, what this is going to start to look like, this is actually from notes from Tim Becko. These are merge testing calls. Basically, I highlighted down here, June 8th, the Ropstein merge. Previously in a video, we discussed Ropstein as a testnet for Ethereum. If all goes successful, no bugs. This is what we really were looking for. And June 8th is the date. If everything holds true and it takes place approximately around this date, it's going to give you an opportunity to understand that the merge is right around the corner. This is the specifically kind of the catalyst into the merge as long as everything's successful. Now, Ropstein will actually not carry to the merge. It will die off. They're not going to be keeping it live, or they're not going to maintain it. It's still going to technically be around, but they're just not going to maintain the testnet. It's going to be replaced by, I think it's Sophia. if I remember correctly. Might be wrong on that, but there's a couple test nets that will move on. Ropstein will not, so this is going to be its last significant push to help understand that the merge will be successful. So RIP to Ropstein testnet, but it's giving us a nice look into what's about to take place. If you don't understand, we've talked about it before, the merge itself is going to reduce the amount of emissions for the Ethereum network itself on proof of stake by 99 point something percent. An ungodly amount of energy saved by going from proof of work to proof of stake, appeasing all of those within the space calling for radical changes for eco-friendly proof of stake, and this is good for that purposes. But also, more importantly, in my opinion, there's going to be a 90% reduction on the amount of ETH entering the market. Now, on top of EIPP 1155, that's also going to give you the ability to possibly make Ethereum a deflationary token. 90% reduction in the amount of Ethereum being introduced per block, and then the burning of Ethereum per transaction could potentially make it deflationary, and making your Ethereum that you're purchasing today at this moment more valuable with time, not even people entering the market, but just because it's deflationary in the whole grand scheme of things. Now, why this is also important, because this is actually a Bitcoin chart you're looking at for halvening in past halvenings. And why we're discussing is because look, these blue marks indicate when the halvenings took place, and Bitcoin and the whole cryptocurrency space in general had a very parabolic bull run each and every time once the halvening took place. Bitcoin's halvening is a little different because it happens every 4 years, and it reduces the amount of Bitcoin entering the market by 50% all the way until 2140. Ethereum, this is a one-time, what they are basically indicating as a triple halvening, because there's a 90% reduction, even more than 50% reduction. Now, can this be a catalyst for the crypto space? A lot's actually riding on this. If it's successful and it all goes smooth, and maybe we get a deployment on the mainnet here at Ethereum in July, is kind of the anticipation currently right now. If we can actually get that, because there's been so many delays before, but if we can get that, can it be a catalyst for the crypto space itself and not just rely on Bitcoin? Would be massive for Ethereum and the network as a whole, it being the market leader for the crypto space in general. And then potentially it would actually, if that does happen, it could really fight for Bitcoin on the flippening. I don't think that it will ever really pass Bitcoin for an extended period of time. I think Bitcoin will eventually reign supreme, because when we go in a bear market, Bitcoin usually just becomes dominant when everything else becomes dormant. But we're going to keep an eye on this. When that merge takes place, can it be that catalyst? I kind of have a little bit of a belief it might, but this is where I'm going to cause for a little bit of concern here. This is the ETH BTC comparison. Typically, when we are above the bull market support band in the comparison to Ethereum and Bitcoin, that's when we are making our largest gains. Anytime we can dip below and we don't make our way back up, we are in an extended bear market. It happened back in 2018 to 2019, as you can see the tail end of it right here. And then we continue to try to bounce off, and Bitcoin's just eating up all the altcoins within the space. But then when we're able to break off of it and come back down, test it, and back up, we got a beautiful bull market for years, and multiple years, that is, in comparison for ETH, in comparison to Bitcoin or altcoins in general. Now, currently right now, we tested it, we were riding above it, now we're back below it. Do we stay here? It's going to be very interesting to see what that looks like for this space in the coming weeks, really, because 0.07196 is kind of that point where we need to get above. Currently right now, we're at 0.06833 for 1 ETH equals that amount of Bitcoin at this moment. Now let's go ahead, jump over to some news within Solana. Now, we talked about it at the beginning of this video, a niche within the space that's going to create a little bit of success for Solana. I personally don't have it within my portfolio. I think it's too centralized, in my opinion, at this moment. Does that change? Possibly. It also goes down a little too often for me, if we're being honest with one another. But some really, at least within the last 24 hours, some bullish news for Solana is OK Bears, Skullbot Bike Gang, Bored Ape Solana Club, which is kind of Reptilian Renegade Lizards. 4 of the top 8 in the last 24 hours are part of the Solana protocol for NFTs. Now, I think there's a lot of shilling currently going on, especially with influencers within the space, really pushing like OK Bears left and right. It was also interesting that, let me think, I put it here. Yep. They basically flipped it, put it on the Ethereum blockchain, and it became not OK Bears, which was kind of a funny. But then OpenSea ended up taking that off because obviously you're just copy and pasting artwork and just flipping it. I'm not, a fan of that sort of, even though I did think it was funny in the meantime. It lived on OpenSea for about a day. Now it's gone. But these type of protocols, I'm going to be curious to see what happens to OK Bears with time. Currently, right now, it just seems like a lot of shilling happening for those within influencer positions around the space. But also what's interesting is they're really pushing Solana because of the network fees. But when it becomes fast transactions, what is kind of hilarious about all that is it's already caused so many outages because of of the traffic that they've brought into the ecosystem. Over 7 times in this year alone. We've talked about in previous videos, Solana is one of the blockchain industry's leader layer 1 networks. It has become a major player in the non-fungible token, the NFT trend, helping to steal some of Ethereum's dominance over the space. However, the network is known as for its frequent outages. While the platform has already experienced a multitude of these outages this year, this past weekend Solana outage is one of the worst in recent memory and drove significant SOL losses. The most recent Solana outage occurred between Saturday and Sunday. It saw the network shut down for a whopping 7 hours. The event barred users from trading across the Solana network entirely while nodes went to work trying to restore activity. They blame this on bots within the space. Not a good look for Solana, shutting it down multiple times in 1 year alone, previously having, I think, almost 48 hours of shutdown time. Not what you want from a network. On top of a network that boasts and flexes hard on that it can take on volume and high traffic, this kind of says different. So we'll see how that plays out, but I do believe that they could right their ship and they can find a niche within gaming and NFT. I don't think they're going to be taking over Ethereum, especially anytime soon in regards to the #1 platform within the crypto space itself, but they can carve out a little bit of the piece of pie in NFT and gaming. And there's a lot of other individuals that believe this as well, but we'll see how that plays out for Solana, and we'll kind of keep an eye on that as time progresses. Little bit of an update on Cardano. Look, I'm not a fan of Cardano. It hasn't done anything for the space. It can't bring people and adoption, bringing a lot of money to the ecosystem from where it was in 2020. But since that point, it really hasn't given you anything. If we're being honest, it's not part of OpenSea. It's not really bringing money into DeFi currently, and it's not being innovative as of yet. So do they change my mind? We can see it happen, but currently right now, Cardano is hurting. It's around 50 cents at this moment. Back in 2017, it was over $1 for its all-time high. Just trying to give you a perspective. You talk about Bitcoin, still over its all-time high from 2017 when it hit 20,000, currently hovering around 30,000. So it's still up 50% from that time. Ethereum's all-time high was hovering around 1,400 back in 2017. Now it's around 2,100. 50% increase from that all-time high. Specifically, Cardano is down 50% from their 2017 all-time high. So they really got to put something together, actually make people want to come to their ecosystem and make things go live at a faster rate. They really have taken their time, but I don't know if they'll be able to survive another full-on 2-year bear market, if we're being honest. Last time they got almost out of the top 20 during that time. Will they be able to survive this round? I'm not sure, but I don't know. I'm also not sure if we're going to get that extended bear market either, just because, the merge of Ethereum could be changing that. but we'll see how everything plays out. Now, wrapping up this video, we're going to be discussing the Terra blockchain. It halted to prevent attacks. Okay, basically, Terra Luna shut their blockchain down. I think it's back up right now, but Luna token crashes almost 1,000% overnight. That's rough to see. Like, at this point, it's dead and gone, in my opinion. There's no coming back from this. They sold off all of their reserves for Bitcoin. They had once over 80,000 Bitcoin. Not in dollars, we're talking 80,000 Bitcoin. 3 billion in Bitcoin was sold in a last-ditch attempt to save UST, which is Terra's stablecoin, from a collapse, and it wasn't successful. If we're being honest, their backed assets are now like BNB and a few other things. I think they still have technically a little over like 300 BTC, but the project's dead and gone, and that's just, it's sad news for a lot of people. I knew people that were part of the Anchor protocol, also who held Terra Luna and didn't get out quick enough. And it's really rough to see, especially in a market such as that we're currently in. And it kind of is going to obviously affect the crypto space in general. And now that's also going to be taken into potentially Tether. The New York Supreme Court within that state did basically, I'm not even thinking a word right now, revoke a opportunity to audit or not get audited. Tether put a petition up for that. It did not work out in their favor. So they potentially have to show how much they actually have backed by actual assets within their ecosystem, that they're not just printing Tether basically like the US government, which is crazy that we're discussing this because the US government does it. It's not backed by anything. It's, a fiduciary system. But UST, on the other hand, says it's backed. So what is it actually, the basket of assets that you have? If Tether falls, we will capitulate harder for the ecosystem. There's nothing about that I see otherwise. But that's just my opinion on that. Hopefully Tether can keep it together and actually prove us all wrong that it actually has assets. This has been an ongoing joke for the last 4 years. Any influencer that's been around the space does not believe anything that Tether tells you. And so it's rough to see. We might need Tether to go away to ultimately go higher for the crypto space. We'll see if that's true down the line. I hope everyone really enjoyed today's content. We're just here trying to feed you information to better give you a perspective to navigate the crypto space. As always, until next time, everyone, peace, y'all.